AM 1030 KVOI, The Voice. Wake up, Tucson. Call Chris and Joe now at 790-2040.
All right, 7:32 in the morning. You're on the Wake Up Tucson show, and we already had Frank Antonori. We had Frankie Santos, who owns Frankie's Cheesesteaks, and then sitting between Joe and I is our U.S. Senator, and Ed gave him half of his sausage and pepper sandwich.
Did. And we said, welcome to AM Radio, Senator.
Nothing like a good sausage sandwich.
For breakfast.
For breakfast.
I'm sure your doctors are like, don't eat it, John. Don't eat it.
Well,
we really appreciate you making time coming down in here.
Thanks for coming down. The most interesting 11 days coming up.
What an amazing time to be in America and be a part of this process.
I have not seen anything like this, really. Yeah. I think you'd have to really go back, not to 94, but back to 1980 when Ronald Reagan won and swept all these people in.
And he had a difficult midterm as well with high unemployment, but he put in stopgap measures that set this place up for 20 years of prosperity.
And got the economy going.
Yeah, we don't see that at all going here.
No, it's the other direction, obviously. In case you missed it, I'm sure you didn't, but the British have now announced very tough spending cuts, cut the size of government by 25%. The exact opposite of what this administration is doing, and the British people are supporting because they realize how tough it is. But the eyes of the nation are going to be on CD7 and 8 on election night. If I've been on your show a number of times before, and if a year ago you'd have said, by the way, there's a young 28-year-old named Ruth McClung who's going to be forcing the liberal left to invest $600 and some thousand. They've just had to pump into Grijalva's campaign, and
he was completely caught flat-footed. He had no idea this was coming out of the woodwork. He's never had a real battle for the last 6-7 years. This district is gerrymandered and made perfectly for him. I wouldn't say gerrymandered, but it is perfectly for him.
Why can't you say gerrymandered? It's gerrymandered, Joe. We're all of a sudden getting sensitive on the show.
But, the other interesting thing about it, too, is, though, that anybody who would advocate boycotting your own state, millions of dollars it costs the state of Arizona, I don't know how many jobs, and you advocate harming your own state, that shows you how out of touch somebody can be, because he never did have a race, just like you said. He never had a challenge, so he stands up and says, boycott your own state. I mean, it's just crazy.
Right.
It's just crazy.
Right.
Anyway, I know we got callers this morning as well. But
shifting over to CD8, I know Jesse's a Marine, and that's a problem for you. Other than that, what can you say about that race?
The governor and I were with him in Green Valley yesterday. Jesse, he ran a great primary. Nobody expected him to win a primary. He out-campaigned his opponent, who's a guy I admire enormously, Jonathan Payton, as you know. And he won that race fair and square. And he's been doing a great job. Jesse tried to explain the fact that Social Security has got to be fixed. And he tried to explain some of the ways we need to fix it. Well, Gabby's been using that as a cudgel to try to harm him with particularly some of our senior. Jesse Kelly is not going to harm anybody's Social Security, period. And so I think, look, all this is going to come down to turnout. Turnout. We
need to see the Democrats stay home. We see the big Republican turnout. Those moderates move a little bit towards Jesse said.
And my Republican friends, some of them are taking a victory lap 11 days before the election. Today is the last day to get your request for early ballot in, and we need people to come down and man the phones to get out our vote.
Yes,
that's what it's probably going to come down to. I think we could be up late.
Yeah, it could be 1,000 votes separate. The 600 1,000 votes could separate CD7.
Well, the American people, the moms and pops of this world, have woken up. Now, sad to say you lost your election to Barack, okay? But if we were going to take some mitigating factors in that, is look at what America's done since then.
Yeah, it's remarkable what's happened. I was just reading an article in the Wall Street Journal that majority of the American people obviously still know that Obamacare is an incredible abomination. The stimulus package, they promised us that unemployment would be 8%. And, of course, we know it staggers along at 9.6. One of the reasons why Ruth is going to be helped, by the way, is is I was down in Yuma. You know what the unemployment in Yuma is?
What's that?
23%
Chihuahua.
in Yuma. I mean, people are hurting,
Yeah.
and they see, and for the president to go around the country and to say it's not as bad as it might have been, really, that's comforting.
Or you just don't understand me.
Oh yeah, you don't, you don't get it. I mean, whenever politicians find themselves in trouble, the answer is, well, the people don't get it. Well, the people get it very well, and they certainly have got it in
At
this
the ballot
election.
box, they're going to get it. Yeah.
By the way, on the Senate, on the whole Senate situation, I think we may be up late watching California and Washington. I think control of the Senate could come down to Carly Fiorina and a guy named Dino Rossi up in the state of Washington. So we may
Looks like Reed is on the
get
ropes.
some rest before take a nap on election day.
Who would have thought Feingold would be in jeopardy at this time?
Yeah,
and then you got Reed. I mean, who would have thought?
Seems like Russ's race is very similar to kind of like Raul's a little bit, where he just was
got surprised.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
But in the case of Harry Reid, I have never seen, and I don't think you guys ever have, seen an incumbent well below 50, never able to bring negatives down below 50 or 60, and win, because the undecideds all go.
Plus, he's the head of the Senate.
Yeah.
He's the head of the party leadership on the Democratic side. Wow.
That's right. And
unprecedented.
When in the debate that Sharon Angle had with Harry Reid, she proved that she's a legitimate candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when she that line, "Man up, Harry."
Well, when you see these patterns going through all these races around the country, Social Security, Too Extreme, Boogeymen, I mean, it's the same story in each of these races. And if you only look at it CD7, CD8, it's one thing. But when you look at it across the snap, that's a plan. That's the strategy they're trying to do, scare you from making the decisions on a vote.
We're on the air with Senator John McCain. If you got a question for John, 790-2040 is the number. Real quick before we get to the question, you brought up Obamacare.
Yep.
And one of the things Joe and I wanted to ask you today is, if you get the House, if with the Senate comes over to the Republican side, what is the how does
repeal and replace?
Yep, you got it. How does that work?
With two things. One is the spending bills that say no funds shall be expended to fill in the blank.
Okay.
Right.
By the way, I still think we got a good chance on this constitutional challenge to the mandate that you have to give insurance to your employees or pay a fine. But and the other is hearings. Subpoena people. He's appointed all these people without confirmation by the Senate. Subpoena people, get them over before Congress, and reveal exactly what this is all about. Majorities really matter in that you control the hearings and you can force people to come up and testify before Congress. And I mean, it's incredible. And I'd like to know why they spent X millions of dollars on an Andy Griffith ad touting Medicare. Poor old Andy Griffith. I love Andy Griffith. We all, people my age, did. Why in the world do you want to do that?
It just looks like they kind of pumped the poor guy up in adrenaline, popped him out, dragged him out of bed, and said,
sad to see,
Here's one of Barack's teleprompters. You know what I mean?
Fife?
7:41 in the morning. Let's go to Susan. You're on the line with U.S. Senator from Arizona, John McCain. What's up, lady?
Oh, good morning, gentlemen. Thank you so
Hi,
much,
Susan.
Senator, for coming up here or down here to help our two candidates. I've been to several of the debates that they have, and I just kind of wonder why Gabrielle Gifford keeps aligning herself with you and Senator Kyle.
I think she's trying to obviously get the independents and moderate vote. But let me tell you, Gabby Giffords has not worked with John Kyle and I to get the border secured, period. She has done a lot of grandstanding, a lot of publicity seeking, but she has not worked with us. And I guarantee you, Jesse Kelly will work with John Kyle and John McCain to get our border secured. Yeah. And I want to assure you, we do not have a working relationship with Gabby Giffords.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Susan.
Susan.
Hey, a follow-up on that, John, is she said at the debate, the one at the University of Arizona, that we only got 6 miles more to go of fence. Explain that asinine line.
I guess it depends on what you call fence. Come on. And we need more surveillance capability. As you know, there was a massive failure of a Boeing contract for surveillance, and we need
was
people.
Was that $1 billion?
We need people down. Yeah,
it was $1 billion.
$2 billion.
$2 billion.
And we need more
Peanuts.
people down.
Rounding error. We were on the.
I was down at the Caterpillar Proving Ground the other day. It's really
we've had them on
place.
the show. Great folks.
Great folks,
Yeah.
and they'll tell you every single night. There's people coming through their property, dropping things. People have hurt themselves. They have to get the emergency help. Our border is not secure. We need to secure the border.
Yeah, 2 tons of marijuana yesterday, 3 pounds of coke the day before. I mean, it's crazy. We were on the air with
all-time high dead bodies in the desert.
Yeah, this summer. We were on the air with U.S. Senator John McCain, welcoming to the Wake Up Tucson show. He's been on the phone a few times, but he's in studio with us, having a great time. We're going to answer another phone call here from Ron. Ron, you wanted to talk about the presidential campaign.
Yeah, hi, how you doing?
Ron, you had to bring that up?
Yeah, I did. I don't mean to bust up a love fest going on here between you guys.
But you're about to.
You're right. Listen, I respect you're a great American senator.
Uh-oh, they always start that way.
I hear a butt coming up.
Let me do my stick here. No,
okay.
I mean that. It's just that I wonder why did you campaign against Barack Obama the way you did with J.D. Hayworth? And frankly,
I did.
Well, that's not the perception down here in the trenches. Okay, I'm just being honest with
Ron.
you. And you worked with Ted Kennedy on that abomination of an education bill and the immigration bill.
I didn't work with him on an education bill.
Well, whatever. I mean, yeah, that was Bush in it. But my point is that you're going to have to. Let me put it this way to you: in this term here, and I don't know if this is going to be your last or not. I mean,
some are hoping.
Well, yeah,
he looks like he's about 59 over here. So
yeah, right. Well, anyway. My advice is more Reagan, less Ted Kennedy, okay? And cancel any travel plans you have to go across the aisle, okay? Stay on this side and, decrease your frequent flyer miles in the across the aisle, okay?
Okay.
That's my advice. But
well,
anyway.
thank you, Ron.
All right,
thanks for the advice, and thanks for the call. And seriously, this is why we have. This is why.
You're on your way to success, young man, by listening to me. All right.
Thank you.
But Ron, thank you. That's the reason why we have talk radio. I appreciate the advice. I appreciate the counsel, and an occasional disagreement, I think, helps listeners. Thanks.
Well,
Thanks,
and we are in for a sea change in this country. We are in for a shift like the 1980 election and Reagan in the 20 years of the conversation there. So we're in for it.
Exactly.
See it.
All right, 7:45 in the morning. We're going to go. We got to pay some bills. This is America. So it's Chris and Joe, Senator John McCain, and Alexander spinning the tunes in the back. 790-2040 is the number. Thank you, Ed. Little 90125 never hurts on a Friday. Wake Up Tucson, 10:30. The Voice.
The nation is watching, and Southern Arizona is listening to Intelligent Talk, the voice of freedom, AM 1030, KVOI. Wake Up Tucson and the Jim Parisi Show. Smart, reasonable, meaningful conversation. Mornings on AM 1030 KVOI, The Voice.
All right, 7:48 on a Friday. Last segment of the day, of the week. And we'll see you on Monday.
James Brown and Senator John McCain on the way.
And a cast of Frankies, as we like to say. So now we only have a few minutes here, and I got lots of calls. So everyone, let's do it nice, short, and succinct, and give John plenty of time to answer. Let's start with American Dave. American Dave, you're on with Chris and Joe and John McCain.
Good morning, Senator.
Hey, American Dave.
Thank you, sir. A week ago, Wednesday, I was proud to put my mark your name on my box on my petition. I had a vote, early, so I got my vote there.
If you voted for Glassman, you would no longer be able to call the show.
You got that right. But my question is, this I don't want to put you on the spot. How would you rate President Obama from 1 to 10? 10 is good and 1 is failure. Like, what would his rating be right now for you think?
Thank you, American Dave. We're going to let him answer that off there.
Thanks, American Dave. I'd have to say a 2 or a 3. I think he's a well-meaning individual. I think he's dedicated to his country. I just think that everything in his life has been far left, and we're a right of center nation, and he is presiding over a far left agenda, take over car companies, stimulus, etc. So. Right. I give him very low grades, and another low grade, by the way. He has never reached across the aisle to try to work with us. They've just tried to jam things through Congress, and they succeeded, but they're not going to succeed next January. Thank you.
Thanks for the call. He's already off the air. 790-2040 is the number. Let's go to Lori real quick. She wants to bring up Sweet Home Arizona, I think.
Yes, actually, hi, Senator McCain.
Hi, Lori.
This is troublemaking Lori. And Joe called me and asked me if I would ask you a question.
Okay.
What did you think of Glassman's Sweet Home Arizona?
I think it'll probably win a one of the awards. I expect to see him.
Emmy or Academy or
whatever they called him, the music.
The MTV Music Award.
MTV Music Award. I expect to see him on that. I think it's probably one of the great classics in American political history.
All right, Lori, thank
you, Lori.
Thanks, Paul. 790-2040 is the number. Let's go to John up in the
Globe.
Up in Globe. What's up? I'm glad to hear we're getting our signals getting out there.
Oh, yeah, we have to keep this box up here humming. You know, I have to kick it every now and then. But anyway, since I've got Senator McCain on the air, I would like to ask him a question and ask him please not to speak out of both sides of his mouth. But when he gets on that big bird in the sky, when he bums a ride up to the Sodom on the Potomac,
wow,
have him play the Delmarva Valley PTA to those guys and ask Mr. Philip Astrew, the Director of Social Security, how come there's a poor old engineer down here with 4 medical conditions and he can't seem to get Social Security disability?
Well, John, you contact our office and we'll try to help out. And by the way...
Oh, well, you're one of the few. John Kyle won't call back, none of the rest of them.
Well, call our office, John, and while we're at it, Globe Miami Superior has terrible unemployment, terrible conditions. We have an opportunity to open a mine called the Resolution Copper, which would provide 2,000 instant jobs. Do you know who's blocking that? Raul Grijalva. Raul Grijalva has stopped us from opening a mine, which is the richest copper ore ever discovered in North America, and it's disgraceful. And talk to the mayor of Superior, Mayor Hing, who'll tell you about the conditions in Superior and the same in Globe and Miami, and it's disgraceful.
John, let's do this. Call John's office.
Yeah,
okay?
call my office, John.
If they don't get you an answer, call us, and then we'll bother him.
All right, thanks for the call, John.
Thanks for the call, John.
790-2040 is the number. Let's go to Bill number 1. Bill, what's up, buddy?
Senator, question for you regarding the Republican leadership of the Senate. Regardless of how many, whether you take over majority or not, there will be more Republicans in the caucus. Does the leadership get exactly what is going to bring them to have more Republicans in the Senate? Some of the stuff that's been coming out lately raises a lot of eyebrows, and there's some serious talk amongst people that if the Republicans don't get this third-party challenge that's going to make Perot seem like a piker.
Well, number one, I think the leadership gets it. Number two, I'm not sure all the Republican senators get it. We still have those who want to do the earmarking and pork barrel spending. And three, they better get it. And four, you're right, that unless we Republicans this time balance the budget, stop the out-of-control spending, and get things done, then you will see, in my view, the rise of a third party in America. That may surprise you guys to hear me say that, but we let spending get out of Republicans let spending get out of control last time. The
06
voters punished. This says no 06 and 08. Yep. This is our last chance. Yes, I think you would see a third party movement in America, and I'm not sure all of my colleagues in the Senate get that. Our leadership, I think, does. John Kyle has done a fantastic job as the number 2 guy in the Senate. I could not be more proud of him.
Yeah. All right, Billy. We got to get one more call, and then we're going to wrap up. Have a great weekend. Now, we saved the quote, the best for last. The funnest third party ever, the Green Party. Green Party Dave. He's our local Green Party activist. What's up, buddy?
How are you, Dave?
Well, good morning, gentlemen. Senator, last time we were on, I mentioned the suicide rate of veterans. The Vietnam veterans have now have more suicides than the names on the wall. We know that the Afghanistan vets, according to the New York Times, just this week released an article that the crisis of suicides in the active military is actually on course to surpass the Vietnam veteran suicide. Senator, because this country's at war, and in past histories, war meant the whole country supported the efforts of our military. Right now, the military feels the pressure of war more than anyone, except for their family members who have to survive their absence and the cases of their suicide.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, Dave,
Do you have a question?
What's the question?
Yeah, would you consider this, because our large military-industrial complex has so much of our purse and future in a world that has less and less fuel, would you consider bringing all of our troops home in exchange for leaving intelligence officers in coffee shops and pubs all across the world? And if they need a military option, we can talk about it in their pub peacefully.
All right,
Dave, thanks for the call.
Thanks for the call, David. We got to get going.
You mean in places
So the question is, John, we're going to pull out all our troops
and leave them in coffee shops.
Right. And
Tell me who's going to volunteer for that, my friend. That's what I.
It's a lot of lattes.
Yeah, I was going to say in Yemen they're going to sit around in coffee shops. My friends, there's people.
Can Halliburton merge with Starbucks? That's what I want to know.
But I would like to. You do bring up a serious issue, and I say with respect, there is a problem with suicides. One of the problems that we have in trying to address that issue is that a number of these suicides are from people in the military who have never been deployed. In other words, in combat. We do see PTSD, and we know that contributes to this terrible, tragic situation. But I've been assured by Secretary Gates and the military, they are doing everything they can. They're debriefing people when they come out of combat. They're tracking them. They're assigning people to them. But it is Dave, you point out that there is an issue there. We've got to address it. And
you serve on the
Armed Services
Committee.
Yeah,
so you're the right person to be talking about.
We get into it all the time. Yeah. And Dave, you do bring up a legitimate point there. And Dave, I don't think that we can put people in coffee shops in parts of the world where they would last not through the first cup of coffee. Yeah. So,
all right.
But thank you.
Thanks for the call, David.
Senator McCain, now that you're around the state and campaigning, what are you seeing out there, and all from Pierce to Yuma to Phoenix
Anger,
to
frustration, disconnect. There's a poll today. I'm very, very fortunate because there was a poll today that 23% of the American people said that they would want to re-elect someone with experience, and 50-some% say they want to elect somebody with no experience.
Yeah. That's the momentum.
Yeah. It's the most unusual time.
My last question, because we've got to go soon.
Yep.
Trust. The trust of the American people. We see distrust in Pima County is at an all-time high of their government officials. City of Tucson. And then, of course, with our federal government. What do we got to do? What do you guys got to do when you get back there to get back the trust?
Well, first of all, we have to stop the spending. We've got to look at what the British are doing right now. They're going to cut their government by 25%.
Yep.
Stop the spending. Clean up our act there. Go ahead and act in a way that people can know that their tax dollars and their government is working for them. There is a disconnect, and the American people have figured that out. And the Tea Party is not a bunch of wacko birds. They're not racist like the NAACP tried to issue some report. They're ordinary citizens who have had enough. And every once in a while, and throughout America's history, there's been these political upheavals, and there's ample reason for it.
Yeah.
And so
it's an populist upheaval too. People are woken up and they're ready for it.
They're ready.
This is going to be a big wide opener for folks like Raul Grijalva against Ruth McClung, for folks like Gabby Giffords, Schweikert and Mitchell up in Phoenix. You got Gosser and Kirkpatrick up in northern Arizona. Arizona's going to make a major shift.
And Arizona is a bellwether state because of our registration and the way we move back and forth. And if all the pundits will be watching what happens in Arizona, but watch California too. Yeah. California matters. We hate them. They've stolen our water. But watch California.
All right, John.
Carly Fiorina's a great candidate.
Thanks for spending some time with us today, and we'll definitely get you back on after the election. And
thanks. I'll be right back down afterwards.
Awesome.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Joe?